Hey guys, welcome back to MCReviews. It's Pete here to do the second EP review in the new format of the review series show. And before I get into anything I'm going to be reviewing this week, I'm not sure if Mika's said anything, but he's going away for the duration of this week. So this week there will not be any of his videos, but mine should be coming up on a normal schedule as they always do, but I might upload an extra one just to fill in the gaps a little bit. But just this week it's just going to be my reviews. I'm not sure what's going on about the podcast, but don't bother keeping your eyes out for Mika's review videos, because as far as I can tell, he's just not going to be making any this week. But after this week, it's going to go back to normal, schedule and recording and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, let's get into the review I'm going to be doing today, which is going to be of the Prelude EP by Rezonate, which includes 5 tracks: Prelude, Canvas, Elemental, The Journey, and Recovery. The last and first tracks of which being exclusively piano tracks, which I'm not going to properly review in this series, because I would have to devote entire videos to them, which means it's going to take almost 2 weeks just to review this EP, and almost a week of videos, if not a week of videos, would be taken up in total just by piano tracks. And as much as I respect that kind of music, I mean, I'm in a classical music band, for God's sake, I think it would be best, just because this is an EDM review show, to not be spending my time devoting entire videos to piano tracks. And I'll say right here, they really do have a good place on this EP as the introduction and the ending. But that's kind of what they act as, not as much as their own proper songs that I can review through and through like I would any other ones. So I'm not going to be reviewing those, so instead I'm going to focus on the 3 main tracks of that, which is Canvas, Elemental, and The Journey. Today I'll be reviewing Canvas, which is the single from this EP that was on a compilation album, that being 016, which I'm not sure if it came out in 2013 or 14, considering that album's kind of over both. But anyway, before we get into this, I'll just talk about a bit about Rezonate as an artist. He's an artist that I think has gone through many phases during his time on Monster Cat, starting off with a couple of electro house tracks, then moving on to melodic dubstep for a while, even with Chill for a single track with Lonely. And here we find him in a phase that I can't really describe, especially not with genre titlings, primarily run by piano and his own vocals. But with all 3 of these songs fitting into different genres, this is a phase of him doing him, rather than doing a certain genre. Though these days Rezonate as well, he's pretty much turned to shit, in my opinion. Everything before his R&B phase was great, and he's an artist that I believe I like more than most like Rezonate, and this EP features some fantastic tracks from him. So with all that out of the way, let's just hop into the first track, which is Canvas.
Initiate your shade and blend the universe together in time. It only gets a little easier. Suddenly piece yourself back together now. What's your vision?
Alright, so Canvas. This is a song that I know most people love, and I'm certainly one of them, but I know for a fact that neither Mika nor Xavier like the song. And the song is classified as indie dance, so I definitely think that explains why Xavier doesn't like it very much. This was one of the first songs I heard from 016 that I really liked, and there's good reason for that, and it very deservingly got onto the Best of 2014 album at the end of the year. This song is pretty damn long as well, at 6 minutes and 36 seconds, so I'll try my hardest to keep this review at a decent length, though after I read this after finish writing it, I know it is quite long. Also, in most songs, I wouldn't really tend to talk about the vocals that much, but considering how much they are an integral part of the song, I think it wouldn't be fair to not talk about them a fair amount, and it would also leave me with not very much to talk about. So this song starts off with a little intro beat and white noise, but this quickly cuts out to introduce the vocals. The start of this intro is pretty simple. It's just Rezonate singing over some chords in a very airy and laid-back tone, which is pretty much how I would describe his vocals for most of the song, and I think that's a really good thing. After a few lines of vocals, white noise builds up to take us into the main section of the intro, where the vocals stay pretty much the same, but the instrumentals become much more complex, and a beat is introduced. The beat is a pretty standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 beat for the most part, but comes off of that whenever it needs to which is always great because I really do like when songs don't need to feel tied to whatever beat they have, and if it suits the song, the beat can just quickly switch up to fit the instrumental, which is really nice. The main instrumental features of this section are a guitar that always leaves an echo behind it, and a very indie dance retro sounding noise that I'm not even going to try to bother to describe, but it is the main backing of the section. Part of what I really like about the vocals in this section is that there are a lot of lines and phrases that have quite large gaps between them, and in a lot of cases sound totally unrelated in the lyrical content. But those two things work together to give the vocals this really separated feel where each line sounds unrelated to the last, but can be pieced together through the story that this song is trying to tell. There is also a lot of very cleverly written lines here. One of my favourite examples being the part where the song goes, thumbs twiddling and your life's escaping your mind, which sounds pretty standard on its own, but after a gap that I've just described in the lines, it's followed up by keep in mind, which I just find really clever personally. So about a minute into the song, another white noise build-up sends us into the next section of the intro, which is pretty much the build-up section, seeing as it is the last section before the drop. The difference here is now that the guitar from earlier has been replaced with a piano melody. This section also has a few lines of vocals before the drop that do a complete flip on the separation I was talking about earlier, and I have a few lines that are sung much faster and flow into each other really, really well, and I love this section of the vocals. Also, this part of the vocals features one of the many art analogies that this song has, which is, they say canvas, that's where the name comes from, and another line of art analogy being, initiate your shading, blend the universe together in time, all art stuff, I don't know what I'm talking about. But that is another line, and all those other art analogy kind of lines, is something that I find to be really clever. And these lines bring us into the drop with another white noise fade into the drop, which I just realised now this song is yet another song that manages to build up without needing to use drums getting faster, which not only have I said before, do I always appreciate that, but it's done really well here, and I think if it was done any other way, it could ruin the mood of the song. So that brings us on to the first drop, which, oh my lord, is so great. I can't really describe the main sound that is used, but if I was to say anything, I'd say it sounds a bit brassy, especially at the start of the notes, if anything. The main way this drop works is pretty simple to describe. It has 3 notes as one melody, and the third note of each of these short melodies is really drawn out, with a whole variety of sounds in between each of these melodies. Normally I'm not a fan of the kind of really long drawn out notes that this song has, but the drawn out notes have a super pulsating feel to them, and they pulsate along with the beat, which stops the sound from becoming stagnant and boring, kind of like the way Shrooms did its backing, which I talked about in the last video I did. The sounds between the melodies are weird and cool too, my favourite being the twangy guitar which happens between them a couple times. This drop isn't all that long either, which is a good thing seeing as it does a lot of the same thing for its short duration. As it does do a lot of the same thing and follows a pretty easily explainable pattern, there's not much for me to say on it, but I really do think it is awesome. The beginning of the mid-section is an instrumental section, surprisingly enough. The main features here being guitar and a really bizarre sound that I can't really describe, but if I was to compare it to anything, it would be a kind of vocodery, vocal choppy kind of sound. I'm not really sure how I feel about this bit. The guitar here is awesome, but I genuinely have no idea how I feel about the other sound. And that's not even to say it's bad, it's just weird and I cannot decide whether I like it or not. Anyway, this goes on for a while, but not much really changes. After another white noise transition, we go into another vocal section quite similar to the intro. Something I hadn't noticed before reviewing this song is that at the start of this section there is a beat, but it's just really distorted and in the background of the song and becomes more prominent as this section goes on. More awesome vocals are the lead of this section and are very similar to the other sections, so nothing new to say here. The last section of the vocal removes the beat entirely, and apart from the obvious vocal lead, the guitar is also really prominent in this section, which is great because the guitar melodies are always awesome, and this little bit before the last drop is just a nice little chill bit to end off the vocals. This drop actually has a bit of a build up to it beforehand in this section, with the tambourine sounding noise, clicks, and another white noise leading to the build up. Another bit of the vocals that I think is awesome is the very last line, because for most of the song, Rezonate has been singing and telling a story, and using a lot of art analogies to get his point across, but the final line is just, "But what do I know?" As if everything he said was pretty much just rambling, that has no real significance to anything and doesn't really have any meaning, which is a really interesting way to end the vocals, as if there was no significance to anything he just said. The second drop of this song is very similar to the first, but in my eyes, it's got the perfect amount of change in it in order to make it feel like an evolution of the previous drop, not just a copy-paste. It still follows the same 3-note melody thing, but a lot of what happens in between the melodies has changed, and the melody itself is actually different on a few different occasions. Also, another thing I didn't notice until reviewing this song is the vocal chop thing that I called the vocodery sound from the start of the midsection is in this drop too, and it just goes to show how well it blends in, considering I never even noticed before reviewing. This drop is an awesome and climatic finisher to the song, but since it's quite similar to the first, I don't have much to say on it. So you could be pretty easily fooled into thinking that this song doesn't even have an ending and just ends with the second drop, since the song completely fades out after that. But if you wait just a few seconds longer, you'll hear the song starts to fade back in and the true ending begins. So this section is completely instrumental and is almost like one of the piano tracks from this EP, but this section has more than just piano, which features everything like bass, a beat, and guitar, so it's got enough to it to not just be a piano section. As this section goes on, elements are removed, as after a while the bass and the beat is taken out, and then all that's left is the piano and the guitar, and even that guitar goes away at the end, just leaving the piano to slowly and beautifully finish off the song. And I'd say the ending of this song is quite comparable to Endlessly's ending. And this section is such an awesome and beautiful way to end off such a beautiful song. So for this overall section, I usually want to try and sum things up with pros and cons of what I think about the song overall, but I'm just having so much trouble thinking of bad things to say about this song. The main issue for people that aren't me could be that if you don't like the vocals, you're gonna have a hard time liking this song, considering apart from the drops, it's mostly just vocals. And though the drops are good, I think for me and most people that love this song, it's the vocal segments that truly make this song special. The vocals here are truly something special to me, and I just love the laid back and calm tone that the vocals stick to for most of the song. And though Rezonate clearly doesn't have the best singing voice there is, I think he still nails it in this song especially, and I have so much respect for him for doing his own vocals. I had honestly gotten quite sick of this song for a while, but reviewing this song has reignited my love for it. And just like the Phoenix from the Ashes story that Rezonate seems to like so much, Canvas has risen from the ashes and has come back to glory to being one of my favourite songs on the label. And I know Mika's not going to be too happy about this, but I don't goddamn care. This song is practically flawless every way, and it really does emotionally touch me in a way that only a few other songs do. So for that, it's getting a perfect 10 out of 10 from me. And this is probably going to be the last song of all the EP songs that I give that score for some time, just depending on what I listen to next. As I said, I had gotten a bit sick of it, but after going back to it and listening to it with a critical ear, it's just almost perfect to me, and the way it connects with me and the way that I feel about the vocals is just unmatched by most songs, and it was in my top 30 Monster Cat songs of all time for a while. And the main reason that I say was and not is because that list was on my old phone, which it still very well could be if I tried to revise that now. It could so easily be different if there was a few things for me to nitpick, but I honestly just can't think of anything bad to say about this song. And something being flawless in my eyes is the most justified reason to give it a 10 out of 10. So guys, that was my review of Canvas. Thank you very much for watching, and please feel free to leave comments about how you agree or disagree with what I've said in the comment section below this video. The next song I'm going to be reviewing is Elemental, which is the only not piano track off this EP that doesn't really feature proper vocals, so that'll be interesting to talk about and is quite different from the other two. So I hope to see you guys commenting and talking about that video when it comes out, and I'll see you guys in that video.
Other day.